All right, welcome to another episode of Let Truth Be Told. My name is Sean Williams, and I thank the Lord for having all you guys inside the viewing audience tonight. So I thank the Lord for you. Hey, I brought a couple of my good friends with me today. I said, man, let me be able to connect with some good people on this next episode. And I said, man, let me get with my brother Hub. He's been on the show with me before, and I connected with my brother Vince Elam, Pastor Vince Elam. And so I wanted them to come on and be able to share some information with us tonight as we talk about the different topics that we talk about and being just a dialogue. So I thank the Lord for everybody that tuned into us and come up to me every single week and say, Sean, man, I like your program. I watch your program every Sunday night. Continue to watch us, man. Continue to tell somebody else to tell somebody else to tell somebody else. Check us out. So as we get ready to dialogue, Brother Hub and Brother Vince, I guess I'll start over here, because I'm from the hood, so I want to start to my right.
Okay.
And so as we start over here to the right, I want to be able to get Brother Vince Elam. You tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got in the community, how long you've been in the community, some things that the viewing audience will be able to see.
Well, I'm born in Champaign, born at Burnham City Hospital, and lived in Champaign for a while, moved to Gary, Indiana, and I think that's where I cut my teeth at. And then I moved back here when I was 13 and raised up over on Lincoln Avenue.
Okay.
My father, Emmett Elam and Swayzine Elam, raised me here, right here in Champaign, Urbana. So this is my home. That's where I'm from.
Yeah.
Always been involved in the community, went to school with Hub, kicked it with Hub, ran with Hub,
Okay.
Tiger Pride.
Yes, sir. Urbana alum, just walking the streets of Champaign, graduated from high school, worked here, got married, raised a family.
Okay.
God called me to the ministry when I was, I've had a call on my life, all my life, but I just decided to say yes at about 28 years old. And I've just been doing God's will and staying where I can hear from God. And a lot of times when you hear from God, doesn't mean that people gonna hear you.
Yeah.
But he said, my sheep know my voice and the stranger they won't follow. So there are people out here that I believe there are others who are people of God, and I'm praying for the day that we connect.
Okay.
And then get our agendas out the way. And get on his agenda, and then all the issues, and I ain't gonna say all the problems gonna go away, but a lot of the issues that we can solve when we grab a hold of his agenda and lose our identity and become who he's called us to be. And that's who I am. I realize I live in a world that everybody ain't Christian, and I'm sorry about that, but I am. And I love the Lord, and I believe what that word say. So my job also is to try to get those who don't love him to love him. And hopefully they'll see something in me that'll cause them to love him and see the value of being who I am, because a lot of times people look at folks, and you got to take your eyes off of folks. If you look at people, you're going to always see flaws, because we human. Ain't nothing good in this right here. But I'm just standing on the wall. I'm doing what God has called me to do, and I'm praying and hoping that, to see some better for Champaign, Urbana. Tired of what I see. I don't like where we've been going, but that doesn't mean it can't change. But change has to come from folks who are compassionate about change. And I ain't gonna see change from folks who ain't from this community. I don't mean they don't have good hearts, but if you was raised in Timbuktu and you came here, you may not have the passion to see change. But this is my home. This is where I live. This is where I raised my family. This is where my parents are. And I want to see change, not just for me, but not for my children, for my grandchildren, and all my family and friends that live in this community. So that's pretty much it.
Well, you gave us a good overview, Brother Hub.
Real quick,
you go ahead.
Because you got some meat and potatoes we need to do.
No, but you go ahead and give us the introductory of yourself. So, and it's important that I want to do this here, and I'll bring it back. Back the reason why I wanted to do the introductories.
Okay.
But we'll bring that back. Okay. But so you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, and then.
Herbert Burnett, born and raised here. Went to Brookings Junior High School in '79. They closed it in '80. And so, or they closed it in 79 and I went there in 78. But went to Brookings Junior High School, was now the Brookings federal building, county building. Went to Urbana High School, graduated in 82. Went to Parkland for a little while. I wasn't feeling it. The pressure of all my brothers and sisters going to college was on me, but I wasn't feeling it. So finally I made a decision to enlist in the United States Army. Ended up doing 20 years there. Retired in El Paso, Texas. And Sean kept reminding me that my mom was here and that the work that I was doing with the youth in El Paso I could do here. And so I do accredit some of me moving back in here to Sean. Before I had the clothing store, I had Sean's parking lot, and later on one of his barber spaces, and he really helped me get my store started. It's amazing that he don't shop with me more since he helped me start it. Throw that jab in there on him, but really he was a great asset to me getting started. Right now, I have a not-for-profit called Not On My Watch. It originated from Kewan Carrington when he got shot by the Champaign police, and I was hanging with Sean, and Sean was in that movement, so I just jumped right up into Sean. But one thing I noticed when we went to a lot of the meetings, that people were asleep at the wheel. You had a lot of steering committees, but they needed new tires and new alignments. And so, man, we here to make a difference. For a while, I was stuck on moving back to Texas, but finally the Lord told me, if you leave here, I'm going to take my hand up off of you. And so I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. I'm glad to be here. And we do need change. And one thing that you commented on, what I had to get past is a lot of people don't have the passion for the community like we have. But I can't be mad at them.
No.
I can't get mad at them about how they feel. But it helps me to realize, and it takes away the frustration. Once God showed me that, I stopped being frustrated with them. And you got to just get in where you fit in with people.
Yeah, that's right.
Because they don't have the passion
That's
that we
right.
have.
Amen.
You know, just on that topic, you know, and the reason why I wanted you guys to give the introductory, because so many times when you're saying you're looking at this, you're looking at flesh, and so many times we portray this fakeness. You know, we dress up a certain part, we go buy a certain type of robe, and people can't really see us as being real individuals.
Right.
And so all of us being Urbana grads, you know, you going to Brookings, I graduated in 87, whatever
82.
82. So, you know,
82.
82. You know what I'm saying? So we've been down that road. So when we have that passion for our, and when I say hood, I mean neighborhood, community guy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so when we have that passion, we see people that's like us, and we feel compassionate when they're going through certain situations. So just being able to reach back and being able to say, hey, look, you know, I'm just like you. Maybe you made some choices like Pastor, and then took the calling, and then accepted that calling, but you still know how to run back down the ladder and bring somebody up. And
Sean,
so those are the things.
thing about the hood, and I tell people, Joe Stovall and them are getting ready to do a 50th year event for the Boys and Girls Club, Boys Club, and he sent me, you know, to sign up, and I had to think for a minute, because I did go to the Boys Club. But I went to the Boys Club, I went to King's School,
Girls
I went to
Club.
Douglas Center. I got around, you know what I'm saying? And so I got a heart for Champaign, just like I got a heart. It wasn't no Wright Street, you know what I'm saying? Only thing about Wright Street is that's how I had to go on Wright Street to get in Dunbar Court.
Right.
But other than that, there ain't no division. Wright Street is not a division, you know? And so shout out to Central. They gave me my first coaching job when I moved back here.
Okay.
And I spent 4 years over there, learned a lot from Scott Davis and Coach Nix and some of the other, John Woods. And so now I'm at Urbana. You know, I'm at home, and I tease some of the coaching staff. I said, man, y'all ain't no Urbana guys. Y'all don't even know the fight song. You know what I'm saying, man? Move around. Yeah. And they get mad, but that's who I am. I'm a Urbana guy.
That's right.
I'm an orange and black man. My mom was on the school board. I used to look at Ken Ferdinand and Russell Oliver and them in 71, 72, Mike Timponi, Rick Kirby and all them. Rick Kirby, he was John Paxson before John Paxson. He'd hit a three-point. No, they didn't have three-point. He'd hit the top of the key, Rick Kirby would, and he'd do this. This was in 72. Mr. Killian, we went to every game. I am a Urbana guy.
Yeah.
And so we turning the program around. We got a great leader in Verdell Jones. He's got a vision. We finna play top teams all over the country. But it's only one of the floors. I'm gonna throw this in real quick. We got 4 floors. And his vision for that basketball team is my vision for the community. You got to get kids to play, be successful on the carpet floor, which is home,
That's
the
it.
tile floor, which is school, the concrete floor, which is the community, and finally the hardwood floor, which is the basketball court.
Yep.
But it's 4 floors of this life, man.
Yes, sir.
And we got to push kids to be successful at all 4 floors. Thank you, man.
You know, we always entitle these programs, and so I was telling Pastor Elam earlier as we was coming over, me and your dialogue at your shop, and what really came us to be able to come up with the topic for the day. And so we're going to center that topic, but we're going to center a lot of things around that topic, because when you talk about youth, you talk about community, it's so many things that make us do what we do. Make the decisions that we make, the choices that we make. So what our topic was, our options are short.
Options are short.
And we determined that at the shop the other day when I was at your shop, and we gave some different analogies, you know, from being in the military, but folks just had short options.
Right.
You know, and so many times I see it when our young folks are making the decisions, our old folks are making decisions, you know, our women are making decisions, you know, just as a community we make a decision,
Yes.
you know, and so as a nation now we make decisions, you know, because our options short.
Our options
you know,
short.
as a leadership right now with our country, you know, some people didn't vote because the options were
The
short.
options were short.
Some people just didn't even vote.
My
'cause
kids
'cause
refused to vote for Hillary Clinton. They told me they weren't voting for
The
her.
options were short.
Short.
You know what I'm saying?
Short.
You know, some people decided to select a certain relationship or a certain person in their life because their options were short. And there's so many different dynamics that go into the ingredients of that to make you make a knee-jerk reaction. Because, and one of the things that help us, and I'm gonna let you guys chime in, to make us make that knee-jerk reaction, is because, you know, we only can go off what we were, you know, off our tree. And so we all then came to this earth, you know, where where people had instilled certain things in us, certain values in us. We came to this here in poverty, most of us, our certain hand that we was dealt. And so it make us make certain decisions about life. And some people can pull themselves up out of by the bootstraps, like we learned.
That's right.
And some
That's
people
right.
just can't.
Some people can't.
And some people rely on other people that's around them. You know, but you can only teach, or you can only teach what you know.
But you reproduce who you are. I'm gonna say that again.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can teach what you know. You can teach all day, don't do drugs, but if you sneaking in the back doing drugs, you're gonna reproduce who you are. I'm gonna say that one more time. You can teach what you know, but you reproduce who you are.
Yeah, and so as I looked at it and I started evaluating, you know, we was born into pre-existing conditions. The pre-existing conditions that we were born into. Now, I'm not gonna say that's where you gotta stay. You know, because even though that we had certain things, you know, I was on Beach Street and then I went and visited my people on Hickory Street,
Yes, sir.
and all that type of stuff. You
Diversity.
know, it doesn't mean that that's where you stay.
That's right.
And I thank the Lord for all this travels,
Yes, sir.
because
Yes, sir.
it's the chemical makeup
Yes,
of
sir.
me.
Yes, sir.
It make me have that compassion
Absolutely.
that you
Yes,
that you
absolutely.
talk about.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
So
Yes,
some,
sir.
you know, I don't do what a lot of people do, and that's, you know, try to jump on the other side of the tracks and
Right.
keep it rolling.
Right.
A lot of people don't look back.
Right.
But
Right.
knowing where you are. But I want you guys to chime in on why are we in the conditions that we're in right now with our options being so short,
Mentality.
limited resources?
I think it's a mentality. Now, I can go all the way back. I read the Willie Lynch story, okay? So I'm going to talk about black people, first of all. You know, we were bred to dislike each other. If you light-skinned and I'm dark-skinned, you know. So Willie Lynch said, pit the light-skinned against the dark-skinned. Pit the field Negro against the house Negro. Pit the female against the male. The old against the young, and make them all distrust each other, but make them all trust master. And if you do that for 400 years, it'll keep the black man down. Well, that's worked. But we don't realize that we are our own worst enemy. And so Hub's got a program. I ain't gonna help him 'cause I remember Hub when he was at Dunbar Court. I wanted to say, well, dummy, you know. What about now? Folks always want to run back and grab your past and have not looked at the fact that you've changed. And now I want to do better. So I've got to do something because I'm like, okay, well, maybe if we get the community together.
Yeah.
So we tried that. Y'all, I went to the churches because I'm a pastor. Well, I already know they don't really care for me because I speak from my heart, okay? I ain't speaking from my head and my knowledge, and I know how to do that. I know Greek, I know Hebrew, I know hermeneutics, I know homiletics, but I'm speaking from my heart. We got to come together because a house divided against itself can't stand, and the kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation. Let's meet at the assembly hall and let's worship together. I know we all got our own differences about the Bible, but that's Satan's mess too, because we all arguing over the same book and we all going to heaven. And somebody said, some God gonna have to send somebody else up there just so he can keep y'all from fighting. But in any case, brother, we couldn't get that done. Because it became an issue. Well, where the money gonna go? And who gonna run it? And who gonna be over
Who
this?
gonna preach?
Yeah, and it just
Who
it
gonna
was
pray?
So eventually we ended up at the I Hotel, and it was more. And I hate to use the word them. It was more of them than it was of us. And so I realized something. Some people don't want change. You know, so the first thing we gotta do is come together.
You know, when you build a business, you expect customers to come. So they building all these prisons, they need customers.
Yeah.
And so one of the most powerful things I've learned about Champaign County by going in different spaces and making appointments with, I ain't gonna bust nobody out, making an appointment with people who in a position to help change, they don't want change. And I'm not gonna say you wrong, you in this office and you don't want change. I just won't deal with that. But let me share this with you real quick. I'm in special ed, I'm getting my master's in special ed, and one of the things that's real hot about special ed right now is inclusion. They want I want to be politically correct here, they want the children with disabilities. You don't say disabled. They want the children with disabilities to be in the same classroom with the other kids. Because what they've learned is in inclusion, some of him can rub off on him and some of her can rub off on him. And so even the children with disabilities can teach the other child something and allow them to open their pores to be more sensitive to the children with disabilities. I went to New York with my wife for her brother-in-law's birthday party / engagement party. And I went to Town Square Church downtown. And the Spirit of God was so much in that place, but every nationality was in there. And the difference between that and what we have is you saw every nationality in leadership positions too. Here, in the pews, you might have every nationality, but when you get to the staff, it doesn't reciprocate. And so, and we were talking before we went on in TV. When I was in the military, whatever company, battalion, brigade you were in, if it was 25% Asian in the soldiers' rank, then it had to be 25% plus or minus 3% in the leadership. And if it wasn't, they would call somebody and move them from Fort Sill, Oklahoma to Fort Hood, Texas, because they got graded on that. And so it's no different now. In class, when I was at J.W. Ader and I walked in there and all them kids start looking at me and then I start talking to them, they said, oh my God, oh, we can be successful. It is an African-American male that ain't selling dope and doing all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it was easy for them to get out at 6:30 in the morning because they thirsty for that. Is it Rantoul's fault? Is it Champagne's fault? No, don't nobody want to come here. Why come here when you can go to Chicago? My good friend Scott Savage is doing well in Chicago. Justin is doing well in St. Louis. You know, why come, and they got stuff to do there. Ain't nothing to do here. I don't know what the chancellor and them do for nightlife. I know they can't do nothing around here because everybody in business is too small. It'll be in the daily line out the next day. So they probably have to get away, you know, if they want to, you know, just hang out.
Sir.
And so that diversity piece, Sean, to answer your question, and I think it's a direct indictment against our leadership or lack of leadership.
Yeah.
You mentioned a bunch of different things, and when you mentioned professors and professionals or just professionals, they options are short.
Sure.
Because if you make 200,000 a year, what you gonna do in Champaign with it?
Yeah.
And I knew, and I had the privilege of cutting a lot of professors' hair over the years, a lot of professionals' hair over the years, and their wives, most of them moved because of their wives. They could not take it. Their wives couldn't take it because it was nothing family oriented for them at that type of level, financial level, to do here in Champaign. So even working with the city of Champaign, the city of Urbana, and different other groups, you know, as we try to bring more minorities in to fit that need of what you said, that we need minorities so that we don't have this here culture shock to see some African American in the schools trying to bring those people in. It's a challenge for people the educators, the superintendents to bring these type of people or city officials to bring these type of people in because our options short. What are they going to do after work? Or if they do decide to mingle with the townies, is it going to be in the News Gazette or the Daily Illini?
Right.
Or is it going to be on Facebook? Or is somebody going to ruin my marriage? Or all the kinds of different things. So your options are short there. And so
the chancellor loves dominoes, but he ain't going to the Legion. He love to play domino. He can't even get a good domino game around here. He ain't going to Legion.
Yeah, no, I mean,
he not going in. I'm not putting the Legion down. It's just he's got to look at the big picture and people's perspective of how they see him.
let me tell you. Let me tell you.
I don't know if he loved dominoes or not. I'm just.
Let me tell you what was when I first met them guys from the University of Illinois. First of all, you got to show yourself to be friendly. Most of us are so arrogant, and we so we only want them to be my friend. When we get to meet somebody like that, he my friend, and he don't want it, we don't share. So when I got those guys to fall in, and I showed them a lot of love, because love recognized love. Then I was able to share my friends with the community. Hey man, this is so and so. This Pastor Dealer, man. And then as they became family. They understood that that was a family environment. So those guys want to connect. But we start life and death is in the power of the tongue. And if you say you're a townie and you start to believe that you're a townie, then you're just gonna be a townie. You're gonna be the outside, an outcast. But when you cross the street and you let them know that we got similar things in common. Your grandmama from Mississippi, and mine is too. You know, on Thanksgiving we like chillings too. You know, and so those are the things that they was able to embrace. Coach McClain embraced those things. That's the reason why he was at my mama's restaurant every morning with breakfast. But it was to show love to the community too. And it helped those guys in 2003, 2004 accomplish some of those victories that they made.
That's right.
So that's another, the option short, that's another piece in that sporting arena that's missing.
But you weren't stingy with your relationship with me. Because of the relationship they had with you in your barber shop, you saw them on the Douglas Center basketball court. Which when they was freshmen and they came in to their first briefing, they said, do not go Northern University.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But because of the love and kindness that you showed them, they said, man, we going over there, we gonna hoop with those guys.
Yeah. I'm gonna keep it 100 and real with you across the board. The views and opinions of Sean Williams, I'm gonna tell the truth. One of the Champaign police officers at that time stopped one of the University of Illinois basketball players. He didn't know at the time that we were, like assigned as being mentors and being guardians for this particular player because of some issues that he had. And so, and talking to his mom and some of the coaching staff, and told him, man, that's Sean woo woo woo. His last name is Williams, man. You don't be around them Williams. Man,
you a my player.
They'll do something to you, and this and that, you know.
Right.
And he went off of what you know what people
Yeah,
what
past.
what the
Your
past.
past, yeah.
Well, it
Whatever.
wasn't-
And when it was your
wasn't my
past, it was just your name.
Your
That's
name.
all.
The hand I was dealt.
Yeah, the hand you was
I
dealt.
was
Yes,
dealt.
sir.
Just being connected
Yes,
with folks,
sir.
you know.
Yes, sir.
And so folks take you out the running because who you connected
Right,
with.
right.
And so he said,
Right.
man, that might be. He told the officer. He came right back to my house and told me exactly what he said.
Mm-hmm.
He said that might be so and so and so and so, but that ain't Sean.
Mm-hmm.
And we continue. We still got a relationship even to this day. That particular basketball player, you know, because he understood real. He understood that we had his best interest in heart. He understood even though the tough times of his life, and I don't throw everybody's business in the streets. Even though the tough times of his life at the University of Illinois, we still had his back.
Yes, sir.
And those other guys understood
Yes,
that
sir.
too. We weren't
Yes,
looking
sir.
for a story.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
See, some people trick you. Befriend you. We call it frenemy.
Frenemy.
We got too many frenemies around here. You know, they trick you. We called them back in the day. We had songs called backstab.
Yeah.
You know,
Smile in your face.
Yeah.
All
we
the
make,
time.
we make a
in
hit.
your place.
Yeah.
But you know, and so,
Haters.
yeah, man, and that's what the young folks and everybody got them nowadays. And so we understood. Me and Hub bounced them mouths off because I love bouncing back. Even with my brother Hub, I love bouncing off with you too, best. You know, because I'll call you for something deep. You know, but
He be all in damn.
but you know, me,
You have to minister him all of the
I
time.
know. Come on
He
back.
was stuck.
Oh, yeah, come on back.
We
Come
need
on
you.
back. Really mean. Yeah, I know.
You know, and I had to touch these brothers
That's
right
right.
here because
Hey,
they
thank
my
God
group.
you got unlimited minutes.
Yes, sir.
I had to reach out to my Fab Five. I had to reach out to my Fab
No,
Five.
Peter, James, and John, your inner circle.
Yeah, there you go.
Some things is just for the inner
yes,
circle.
sir.
The other disciples ain't got the faith, so
Yeah.
y'all got to
I had to
go.
reach out to my
We
Fab
need
Five.
faith for this.
And so, and when I was talking to Hub, you know, Hub said, man, he said, why do you think David put that in there? You know, talking about preparing me a table before my
In the
enemy.
presence of my
on,
enemy.
man.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't have enemies,
That's
you don't
right.
need to prepare no table.
That's
Yes,
it.
sir. Yes,
so
sir.
and that came off a faith walk. That came off a faith walk. You had to really believe.
You better believe it.
You had to really
And
believe.
you ain't ate good till you eat in front of somebody
Come on,
who
man.
just want you to have it.
Man, that's when God
It's
works his
good.
best.
You better believe it.
That's when God, because he
better
want to
believe it.
be able to show out. We waiting for him to show up in when we doing good or when something minute is happening. He ready to show up and show that he do miracles. And so, like in my life and your life, you know, the things that you done told me you went through in your life, the things that you done made it through, coming off of 2 wars, to be able to come back here and pour something into somebody else. Me coming from being a Williams, the hand I was dealt, you know, folks counting you out, trying to pull resources away from you. Relationships away from you, you know, and still be able to still maintain and keep some sanity at the same time. Because folks want to take our sanity away. Life want to take our sanity away. You know, when we out here, when we can't say nothing positive to anybody.
Absolutely.
You know, and so I was gonna go to this choices
got
because
some on
the
his heart, real
opinions
tough. He
make
ready to let it
choices.
ride.
No, I mean, it's just.
Let it ride, man.
It's-
Let it ride. Come on, man. Don't play. Don't play.
No,
Come
it's
on.
adverse.
Go
You know,
ahead,
the
go ahead. We just
adversity.
dialoguing.
I mean, you think about it. I'll do it, so you don't have to. You know, this man has owned several businesses. You know what I'm saying? I could remember somebody just talking, running off at the mouth. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay, well, let's go talk to him. You know what I'm saying? You know, you ain't gonna come to me like that.
Right.
And sometimes you don't know who your friend is.
Right.
Or you don't know who know
Right.
whatever. We got to be careful because we tear each other down. But the reason why the options are few is because we ain't figured out that together we stand, divided we fall. So we got to support each other. How somebody, you know, it's like, how somebody going to come from somewhere else in this community and build a business in this community, and the person that's from this community that's trying to build a business can't get it together because the folks from this community won't support him, but they'll support somebody else from a different community. That's why our options are few, okay? And if we can't build a business that becomes thriving, just keep looking in our community. You know, people don't like to talk about this kind of stuff. But let's look at our community. You know, I grew up on North Lincoln. There's still no banks there. There's still no grocery stores there. You know what I'm saying? But go walk Go around, just drive around the rest of the city and look how it's being built up. Ain't nobody's gonna care about that but us and the folks that we care about and the folks that care about this city. And so they not coming to us, we gotta go get them. We gotta go find that man of peace. You know what I'm saying? And we gotta sit down and we gotta strategize and we gotta come up with a plan. But now let me tell you something. You said something earlier. When people know that you're trying to do something and it's going to take away from them, okay, then they get scary. It was like one brother said, hold your money for 30 days. They don't care nothing about you holding your money for 30 days because after 30 days, you still going back over there and shop. And it's not to distance anybody because that's what causes issue. But it's like, this is what we have to do in order to build ourselves up because if we waiting for somebody else to do it, they're not gonna do it.
Let me get this to you. I was out of here about 4 years ago. I had went to Dallas, my daughter's graduation, and I had made up in my mind that I was gonna move to Texas. I was gonna come back, sell the store, move to Texas. I got to Effingham, saw the cross. The Lord said, if you leave this city, I'm gonna take my hand up off you. So I said, Lord, that's cool. I won't leave, but do me a favor, don't let me rot. Because I see a lot of small-minded people around here that they individuals. And so, Lord, I didn't come back from Iraq and see all that death to come here and rot. And so if my gifts are not going to be used here, I'm not saying I have the answer, but I want to be part of the team.
You got part of it.
And
yes,
so he promised me that I wasn't going to rot. So what I see before my eyes right now is I see a lot of naysayers that don't really want to deal with me or my not-for-profit. This is what I see. But I also see God saying, U of I and the city of Champaign have to find an answer for all these killings, all these murders, all this lack of job. These guys don't have nothing to do. They don't have no hope. Nobody helping them because they haven't formed any relationships. So guess what? U of I gonna need me before I need them. And I understand that, and that's not me being arrogant. That's God speaking to me and say, look, I'm showing you this, because you're not afraid to reach out and grab and risk everything you have. I'm at Eastern's working on my master's to go in the hood and help these guys. And I understand if I reach down to help them and they in the mud, I'm gonna get some mud on me. Somebody said, man, you had a guy on your show and he was saying the N-word. Well, that's part of me reaching out and helping them. You ain't gonna hear me
and
say.
He got mud on him.
Right, he got mud on him. Right. But who's gonna help him? You guys with all the answers don't have no relationships. Y'all having meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting with all these panels, and the panels don't have no relationship with the people.
Don't have no compassion.
And so
young folks getting killed during the meeting.
So guess what? I got part of the answer. And you can come to me now, or you can meet me in Rantoul in a couple of years. But I got part of the answer. And these Asians, one of my favorite things, Sean and Pastor, is Ubering. Last night, I had 2 college students crying in the back of my car because I was ministering to them about you don't have to be this way. God made you special, and you don't have to settle for how these guys treating you. I had them crying. But when I get in my car and I'm Ubering, it's like I'm pastoring to the nation. Because Asians come in my car, whites, blacks, Indians, all different. And so that's how God gives me my fix. That's how he give me a glimpse of his glory. Because I promised him, Lord, I don't want to pastor no all African-American church. I want it to look like heaven. So when I go Uber, Lyft, and I go on campus, I get to exercise my ministry to whosoever will. And so sooner or later, they got to pay the piper. Because guess what? The Chinese and Indians, they sending their kids over here to get an education. They're not sending their kids over here to get shot at. And you can keep giving out 30, 40, 50, 60 years. One day you're going to realize that you can't warehouse people. You think giving them people 60 years, it's next man up, next man up, next man. You pour the grass up, the next week some more grass going. Giving people 60 and 70 years, that's warehousing people. That's not the answer. Some of us got the answer.
But that's That's where warehousing is
That's
big
business.
business. So I don't want you educated. See, we've had to take that kind of abuse. I don't want you educated. I don't want you in school. I don't want you on no job. I want you robbing and stealing so I can, because if I'm doing watermelons and I go out there and watermelons is my business, I want to see watermelons as far as I can see them. Okay? Or corn. Well, if I'm doing prisons, I got to have somebody to fill them up. And we already know that the percentage of African Americans that are in prison is largely for us. And that's got to change. And it's got to be us willing to make the sacrifices, okay? And what Jesus did, he laid down his life. You know, if you're a true friend, you know, will a man lay down his life for a friend? You wouldn't do that for an enemy. You know, and you probably have some reserve to do it for a friend, but you got to be willing to do that in order for change to happen. And it ain't gonna just be Hub by itself. It ain't gonna be Sean by itself. It ain't gonna be Vince Elam by itself or any other well-meaning person who really has a heart and compassion. It's when we bring those. You said you had a piece. You didn't have the whole idea.
No, I just got a piece of it.
You know what a puzzle? When you lay it on the floor, all the pieces are there. But the pieces come together when you start putting the pieces in. See, you got a piece, Sean got a piece, I got a piece, somebody else got a piece. Man, we got to put the pieces together so we can see the clear picture of the direction we need to go in. When we do that, I don't care who don't like it, but that's how it's going to happen when we put up, would you say, boots on the ground.
So Pastor, I'm going to rewind because you guys gave a wealth of information, so I'm going to try to catch
Bring us in, reel us in.
I'm going to try to catch back up.
On in.
You know, because y'all left me behind.
Come on in. Come on in.
Okay. And so,
it is your show.
You're doing great. So let's bring it right back to what you was talking about within business, okay? We're going to go back to what the people then said about Sean or whatever the case with business and being able to see some love and pour back into business, okay? And so I always listen to 1400 AM. I always listen to Jim. Big shouts out to you, Jim. You retired, and now Brian has took over for you. So I still listen to 1400. And I listen to it because I get to hear public opinion across the whole, across this county, other counties, almost central Illinois, across the state. And I get to hear the broader views, you know, to see what's going on. And so I hear him talk about the University of Illinois, basketball, football, and it continues to want to regurgitate wins. And so I'm still stuck on 2002, 2003, because I had a relationship with winners. I know what winning looked like.
You helped create them.
They were sitting at my table. They ate oatmeal pies up. They didn't forget, but I haven't.
Right.
You know, so I was connected with winners. So I've had winners before. They're still trying to regurgitate another winner. When we should zoom in on what works and what wins. Okay, and so what was zoomed in is community connection. All of these other what you said is pieces that you trying to regurgitate something else that might work, but trying to discredit people and disconnect people from what was already there and set in place to work. Okay, and so when you go back down and you say, "Hey, my business," you know, and I already told you, you know, I shop, I mess with people that shop with me. You know, I come by your shop all the time. I might not buy a tie, but I'm coming by. But when I do need something, I stop by. I'm gonna send Gabby down there.
Yes, somebody gonna come in
and
there.
deal with it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so we got to see the wealth in each other and the value in each other. Because when you discredit somebody, that's because you're really saying you see no value in them.
Right.
That's really what you're saying. You see no value in them, no importance in them, their existence. But I'm going to tell you, because we all need each other, okay, for the survival of each other. We was created because we needed each other. You know, you got to have, if you're going to be a servant, you got to be serving somebody. And God created us to be servants one toward another. So we got to be serving somebody. So that means you need somebody, right? Okay? And so, but we see more value in people from out of town.
Yes, sir.
Might not know my past. Might not know about Urbana. Might not know about down the street. Might not know about the Williams. You know, I see value even in what you saw in destruction.
Right.
I see value when even when you saw maybe one of my brothers go away for a while. I see value because I see the finished product. I see what you don't see. I see the finished product. Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah, I see the finished product. And so I see the pure value. But see, what happens, brother Hub,
I'm sorry.
what happens is this, is when you tear me down,
Right.
you really kill your own dream.
Right.
When you try to kill my dream and blow my candle out, you really blow the candle out for everybody that was born and raised in Champaign, that went through Urbana High School, that the teacher said it'd never be nothing, that people said it'd never be nothing, that these systems that you talk about that has set up, and I'm trying to break through the barrier of the systems, and you really saying that's gonna work. So it's not just holding me back, holding me down, it's holding everybody that come through the ranks of what I'm trying to go through. So that means we won't have any more business, because I'm gonna tell you something about this particular business. I mean, $2.7 million in this business in the African American community. And if you see more value to take $2 million of it to Danville, then you see no value in our community, because the commitment that we have in this community is to be givers one toward another and be able to help where we can help. Whether if it's your basketball program, whether if it's Vince Elam setting up some type of program, we see the value in our connection with each other, because we all intertwined together. Whether if your uncle married my cousin or whatever the case, we all from the same place.
Absolutely.
Now, one thing I understand over there in Danville, we do insurance, we do all kinds of stuff. I dialogue with people all the time. Most of the time, I don't even tell people what I do. I don't even tell about my business in Champaign. I just listen, because you get more out of listening. And so I listen to them. And so when we're filling out the documents, not one particular time, and you can snap your paper, and you can look at the obituary sections, not one time we ever get a funeral from out of Danville. Why is that? I said, why is that? Because they see value in what they got. It might not look like nothing, but they see value in it. We discredit each other.
Sean, that's why I say leadership, because the we is the people, but the leaders got the mic on Wednesday and Sunday. And see, if the leaders that's got the, you told me it's power in the mic.
Power in the mic.
And so that's why my first response was leadership, or lack thereof. Because what I've realized is I'm a way more coach. I coach more than just basketball. You see what I'm saying? Back in the day, I used to say, oh, I'm a basketball coach, but the Lord don't show me, nah, you more than the basketball coach. And so
that's just a tool.
It's just a tool. And so and you know what? You mentioned something earlier, and I didn't want to interrupt. Man, if I had to relive my life over, I would want it the same way. Everything good and bad, everything that went on in Dunbar Court, everything that went on in Douglas Center, everything that went on in Bradley McKinley, everything that went on in Green Apartments, everything that went on Roper Street with Joe Posey, everything that went on, if I had to relive it, I would want it the same. Because what I've realized is, man, some people can only relate with the crack house, and some people can only relate with the White House. And if they outside their element, they popped. But because my mom raised us with the vast of knowledge, my mom was at the White House at 25 under, who was the president? Under the Nixon era. How my mama with an Angela Davis afro sitting in the White House at 25 under the Nixon era? So my mama raised me with diversity. And so early on, it was all one-sided, except when a couple of my cousins come on. But as I got to be a teenager and had a paper route and all that, man, I really got to get the taste of the hood. And so my thing is, because some people only have one side, then their leadership is one-sided. And so until you can get coaches on Wednesday and Sunday to coach people into their destiny, listen to this, coach people into their destiny instead of your destiny.
Talking loud, ain't saying nothing. You know, and so when we go into that, and I just want to get the educational piece on that really fast. So say my brother Hub, he owns his store. I own a business, barbershop. Brother Vince, he maybe he's pastoring his church, right? Okay, so brother Hub then has something happen where he shops with me. Then I take the money and I take it to brother Vince Elam. Vince Elam got to go to the store right here that the brother right here owns, and then now the brother right here, his son need a suit. So now the money steady circulates around. Now Kevin got a program with the kids. Now you take the money to Kevin. Unfortunately, something happened to Kevin with somebody and then he get the money to me. Now I take the money to Pastor Elam. Pastor Elam take it down there into somebody else's business. It's called recirculating the money within the cycle. And so networking together. But majority of the time, during one of these people, is somebody else that the money get to, and it jerks right out the community.
Can I share this with you real quick?
So,
some pastors and a group was doing some kind of event. I don't want to lie, but it was in the parking lot of the Whip, and it wasn't that long ago. It was in the parking lot, and BCP and all them was involved. NAACP and them and the pastor St. Luke, they asked the corner store for a donation. There was 200 or 300 people out there. He gave 12 bottles of water. But we spend 99.999999999 of our business going to his place. And that's what he feel about our community, 12 bottles of water. But is it really his fault?
no.
And here's where the leadership got they don't know no better. They going in getting Black and Miles and hog head sauce and all that. But the leadership got to come together and say, hey, we ain't shopping here no more. Well, matter of fact, Vince, you got a son that's an entrepreneur. We want him to go up to Chicago and find out where they getting the hog head sauce at, where they getting the eggs and all that from. We gonna picket him for 90 days, and he gonna be out of there, and your son gonna move in there, and we gonna make that our store. That's how simple it is.
Now, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna add to that. See, a lot of folks won't shop at your store because they don't like Hub. That's simple, okay? A lot of folks won't come to Sean because they don't like Sean, or they know his past. I know they don't come to my church because I don't have all the bells and the whistles. But let me tell you something.
They scared you might prophesy.
But if we go to your, I don't buy another suit unless you buy it from him. Don't buy another pair of shoes unless you buy it from him. Don't go get no insurance unless you get it. You know what I'm saying? This is the mentality. Because I know if Hub becomes a millionaire, Hub's going to give back to this community. If Sean becomes a millionaire, he's going to give back to this community. No more taking it outside of the community because we got to help us. And if we don't see the wealth in us, man, if we don't see the wealth in us, nobody else going to see the wealth. If we're not going to invest, let me tell you something. I'm going to say this. T.D. Jakes said something one time, and it blew my mind. He said he wrote Woman Now or Loose. The reason why he wrote it, because somebody else had wrote a book off a tape he preached and messed up. He said, so he wrote the book, and he was angry at the fact. When the book was wrote, he took it to the publishing company, and the publishing company said, well, that's great. We need $15,000. He said that was all the money he had in his savings. And he said, I can't give you my $15,000. He said, the Lord spoke to him. He said, only a fool won't invest in his own self.
Come on, man.
So he took the money out of the bank, and he went and got the books, and he went to the conference and sold out and had to get more, and it became a bestseller, and he done sold millions and millions of dollars. Now, folks mad at the brother because he doing well for himself, but he ain't taking the money from the church. He wrote them books that God put that in him, but he gives back. You know what I'm saying? Now, it's controversial and a whole lot of stuff, but the people that are from here, that love here, are going to help build this up. And we'll go shop at this place, we'll go shop at that place. They don't care about your community. They go give back to your community. But if they come and they make you a millionaire because they come and shop, we ain't shopping nowhere else. We ain't going up to Chicago. He can order the same suits that they got in the store. I know what I'm talking about, okay? Because the man down in Atlanta, I said, hey, can you get this for me? He said, sure can. Well, I'm a big boy. I'm going to need more material. He said, I got you. 2-3 weeks later, my stuff was in the store. I went and picked it up. We got to support each other. Make this man a millionaire, and he's going to bless his community. Make this man a millionaire. He going to bless bless his community. Help this pastor, and I'll open up the building so that you can come in with your programs and teach them how to do carpentry and teach them how to do plumbing and all of that. So now you got these jobs that these people need. They ain't got to sell dope. They can go get the Ford F-150 truck because they got a good job. But as long as we are there and we disconnected from our community and we don't care about our community, they don't see the wealth in us because we don't see that wealth.
And here's something that's really in my spirit. We can't depend on the police to do our job.
No.
We want to depend on the police to do our job. Now we got to roll up our sleeves and get in this community and help build it up where the U of I students can walk around safe. We can't expect the U of I police, it ain't number 7 of them. We can't expect them to police this whole area, man. We have to be the police. It takes a village. You see what I'm saying? And go ahead.
You know, it's and going back to what you guys are saying, because you're both hitting hard. And so, and I want to be the first one to say, you got your own free will to do what you want to do. You got the free will. You got the options to do what you want to do.
Absolutely.
You can spend your money where you want to spend your money. You know, just don't come hollering at me asking me to help you do whatever. You know what I'm saying? And you spending your shop.
Oh, they coming.
You know,
they coming.
They call me all the time.
They coming, and you gonna help.
And you know what? Because I got a good heart.
You gonna help.
You know, because I got a good heart.
You gonna help.
Good heart.
Yep.
Now let me say this real quick.
I got a good heart.
I just told him this. This guy called me, and I got a deal going down tomorrow.
They do.
And I was this close to just being caught up and going and spending the money, which I thought it was overpriced. But I'm sure some people come in my place and think it's overpriced. But you know what? I went to somebody I don't even know, because what came to me is this clown ain't never been in my shop. I done spent money with him. I said, I guess I'm gonna have to start selling bubble gum. Oh, I don't wear suits, I don't wear ties, I don't wear socks. Man, y'all don't wear nothing. Well, I'm gonna start selling some gum and see if you come in there.
You know what? And you know what God put in my spirit, bro?
Yes, sir. Come on.
Is people don't have a problem with you being successful. They just don't want you to make it before they do.
But maybe if I make
a lot of times people just don't want you to have a good house, you to have a good car. But see, that's the wrong mentality, because a lot of times when I go talk to my young people, because a lot of y'all can't talk to them, relate to them young people, you know what I'm saying? And so when I deal with some of them people in the hood, they want to touch it, they want to feel it, they want to see it. And when it ain't your desire to even have those type of things, because it might not be your realm, and, you know, stay in your lane.
I'm at.
Stay in your lane. But for me, because I came from that, you know what I'm saying? I ain't had nothing. So these are all things that my list of things I wanted. And when I put my eyes on something, I was laying back, I was being Xavier laying back watching YouTube, and I seen them Impalas. Man, I need to get me one of them. But my mindset was using it as a training tool. So when I go to the school, and then I sit back there and they pull the curtain back because I'm telling my story, and I tell them all the stuff I went through, and then I have them pull that curtain back, man, check that out there. Man, that's yours. You can go to Urbana. You can sit in school. You can listen. You can start out small.
Powerful.
You can do that. You ain't got to sell no crack. You can have them big rims. It's not what's being socially taught. It's not being what's taught, you know, in the entertainment. You got to go do this. You got to sell your soul for a car. But see, and those are the things you had me come to a service. I don't really go to funerals if I ain't doing it, because I'm not just a funeral goer like that. Some people are. I'm not. Okay, so if I'm not doing, forgive me, I just don't show up, because if you want to be there, you probably call me. So I'm keeping it 100 real across the board. So, but you preach something at this guy's service, because this man was a valuable. He didn't have a whole lot of money, but he was a valuable resource in the community. You know, and that's my man that was washing cars. You know, and so I showed up at the funeral, and you preached something that day, and you said that you were not going to rot in Champaign. And I'm gonna tell you something, and I know as we get ready to come to the closing program, one of the things that you have to evaluate and the options that you have, the choices that you may have, and the decisions that you gotta have. If you don't take one of these options, choices, or decisions, then you kill the dreams for yourself. the people that you're connected with on your tree. Not being able to see somebody else shine. It kills your people and your tree from shining, your people from growing. So you done killed out your grandkids and and they kids. You stopping the further growth. So when you don't want to see a new African American business in your community, that's cool. You keep the thoughts that you got, because what you're doing is you're keeping the further growth down for your community.
Sean, let me say this, because I know we're at the close. I woke up New Year's Day, and God put an unction in me that's so powerful. I ain't really worried about the elementary school, the middle school, or the high school, because Gervais and Tap In, they doing a lot with the kids. So they got a lock on that. But God, personally, me, I got a dead aim on 18 to 40. From the age of 18 to 40, I got a dead aim on especially African-American males. And if I have to die, I got a dead aim on them. And I'm coming to get them one by one. I got a dead aim. And when I say me, I'm talking about the posse.
People that's with you.
People that's with me. People that's on what. And so we coming to get them, whether it's through basketball, whether it's through the ministry, whether it's through being one of the most valuable assets in the community. I got a dead aim on them because I know they really ain't bad. I know they really ain't bad. Some of them need a guidance. This last guy that just got this $5 million bond, he's like my son, man. His dad was my first employee, second employee. He's like my son. And I remember watching him, coaching against him in basketball and inquiring in, and he was an AB student at Urbana. And he had the potential to play Division I basketball, not no JUCO. He could have played Division I basketball, but his options were short. Now they got him over there with a $5 million bond, and I know people gonna think I'm crazy. He's not a bad kid. His options were short, and he bit off more than he can chew, and I don't know what happened, but I know the kid, and I know he over there like, man, what just happened?
But I'm gonna tell you what old folks are saying. You go ahead and keep on living. One bad decision overnight can give you a life full of pain. That one bad decision gonna give him and his family a life full of pain.
Yes, sir.
You know, but that one bad decision, and I've seen several bad decisions out of young men. Out of young men. And we're gonna come to that because I covered some stuff with Pastor a little bit earlier. But I've seen several bad decisions. And and you gave an analogy about watermelons and being able to see more watermelons and that. I'm cut from a different cloth because my commitment from Champaign. Okay, so when I'm down at my funeral home and I'm looking at a young man that I know should be healthy, should be on a football field somewhere. When I look at Marcus Boo Man Brown that was up in Chicago, up in Rantoul, that got shot in the back of the head, and I know he fit the description of a linebacker that should be on some championship team somewhere, but he laying in the funeral home because one of his buddies that shot him in the back of the head. It disturbed me. When I'm looking at all these other young men, when I'm looking at a young man out of the community, Rakim Vineyard, that got so much influence in the community that all the young people showed up to the funeral, which I know should have been somewhere running some major something in this community where we could have been uplifting that young man and making him feel like he belonged in this community. I felt a certain way. So I know that, you know, that we gotta be able to first recognize, and then when you mention cover, see, well, first of all, we going about things wrong because we're not going about how we're designed. As men, we're designed to cover our families and the community.
That's right.
But when you
got too many people that have abandoned their post, neglected their opportunities, the responsibilities, that turned into wimps instead of winners, then we get what we get, man. Because of the fact that we done neglected, we ain't covering. We supposed to cover these folks to try to keep them from the pain. but we letting them get exposed to the pain. So we letting these women raise all these children because most of the time when Julia Reese just told me and told us all, it was like she was telling to me what she said when I gotta punish and go over there and console at the same time. Punish because the law demands that, but console a family that don't even understand what even happened. But she said, where's the organizations at? So as we close, we wrap this up. We wrapping this program up. I thank you, brothers, for being there to just pause your day. I thank everybody on our Facebook page, our people that's on UPTV that watch us every single night. Hey, I thank you guys for hopefully saying something that be helpful. Apply it to your lives, man. Apply it to our lives. Hey, I appreciate you, Yusuf, for being there to just pause.
Yusuf, my man.
In your day. UPTV, Savannah Public Television. Thank you very much
Yusuf.
for another episode of Let the Truth Be Told.
Let the truth be told. Peace.